So the thing with cults is that they exploit fears that are real, but they, one, don't show how they might be involved in causing the fear, and they distort it and blow it out of proportion. I was just talking to one of my friends yesterday about this with vaccines and medical attention. She's a developmental psychologist, she's Latina, and she's grown up in Miami her whole life, so like a bigger city. And I was telling her about the distrust with working class and rural communities, because she is already aware of the distrust that people of color have with medical staff due to experimentation on them. I will say I am vaccinated. I've had the privilege of working with clinical trials, even at Ivy League universities. I'm extensively trained on the research process, so I have privileges that most people in these communities do not have on having seen the process. Now, because of that, I also know why there are so many rules and regulations, because they were exploited beforehand. And a really big blunder that the FDA had in our very recent history that we're still dealing with is the opioid crisis. And that has not gotten as much attention since the pandemic. But in 2019, I was actually, as a federal employee, I was working on workforce innovation and return to work for people recovering from the opioid crisis. And that has impacted working class communities a lot, because who needed painkillers was people who had physical labor jobs. And that it got through the FDA to classify that drug as non-addictive is something that these communities have not forgotten, probably won't ever forget, because it also hasn't been resolved. And as an intersectional researcher, I'm also aware that the opioid crisis has gotten way more sympathy and response from the government than any other drug crisis, usually because it was blamed on Black and brown people. And the blatant racism that is behind the war on drugs, and that a lot of the system that was built on the war on drugs to imprison Black and brown people is part of the issue with the opioid crisis now, of like, once you have a felony, it is hard to get a job at all, which makes it hard to stay out of jail. And so I see those intersections, and don't even get me started on the history of gynecology research. So this does not mean I deny the existence of cults. They are real. But it makes me more empathetic towards people who fall for them, and it helps me question when I hear fear-mongering, to ask, what is the goal of this person who's fear-mongering? What is the truth behind this fear, and what are they doing to resolve it, and have they been involved with causing it? Are there reasons for the fear based in truth, or are they just blaming another group? Because that is a tactic that has been used for all of history, to blame a group. For example, Hitler blamed Jews. Is this person actually calling attention to a problem that they can and rightfully will solve, or are they just looking for power over me and mine?